Jazz Hands.
That's right, Jazz
Yeah.
Hands.
Well, it's Wednesday night. So
Wednesday
here we
night.
are. Yeah, another Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Man, but this week has flown by super fast.
Already, man. And you know, it's just crazy because it's already Wednesday night. It's gonna be tomorrow's Thursday, and then I've only got a short week next week, and then Thanksgiving, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's sneaking up on us at the end of the year. And you know what that means?
DRI.
John Wilburn will be making an announcement on dates for No Name Nationals for 2026.
So that means on Friday night we're gonna start seeing an orange sign with the number pretty soon.
Yeah, it also means I probably need to type up all those rules for Triple Crowd.
Right. They're gonna be beating us up for that, man.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done that. So I've been working on other stuff. All right. I guess
these fine people.
Yeah, taking it from the top. Twisted Mopar Garage in here at 5:45 p.m. Miss Cat G, Mama M3, Kerosene Cucumbers, the greatest name on all of YouTube. Slant Daily Garage, what's up, suckers? And Fab Race Mod Repeat, hello from the Speed Oasis lair. Right? Lout Burns, SSR Performance, Buff Del Campo is in the house. Clint Street Machines, Tom Brown, Clayton's Toolbox, Unity Motorsports Garage. Andy is here. And let's see. KS Skyhawk, hello from Kansas. Fab Race Mod Repeat again. Let's see. One-Eyed Cat is checking in. Junkyard D is here, ringing the bell. Danny Boyd, it's gin o'clock. Nick the Van Man is here. Vintage Adventure Drive. Say, folks, I installed my first windshield today. Hey, cool. I still have never done that. So, yeah. WAF Racing is here. Andrew Nelson. And if you didn't notice, like, the Nelsons are absolutely killing it on YouTube.
They are,
so,
yeah. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Let's see. And I think that's it. That's everybody. Clayton's Toolbox was the last one in. So I think, and Levi's Backyard Performance is jumping in the chat right at the last minute. So welcome everyone to another fantastic Wednesday night. Did you want to tell them about like the big news?
Yes, that's the first thing we're going to go off is that Wednesday night Tech Talk Live, the best one ever on all of YouTube. We actually get to talk to real people who are real car guys with real answers. They can tell you the right thing, or we're going to make it up really good. That really comes answer close. We have a sponsor. We actually got our very first sponsor, and he's actually right here in the chats. Mama M3, if you could post up that link, that'd be awesome. So here we got Mr. WAF Racing. He's in the chat here. He's got some cool stuff. He sent us some swag. So we're going to go over some of these things, but man, he does really cool 3D printed stuff. And this is for the racer and people who do drag and drives. And it's waf.racing.com. So go check them out. There's going to be, that's it right there. M3 just put it up. So here's the first one we're going to go over. They come in 3 different colors. You got blue, you got red. They also have black. What this is for your spark plug holders. You can read right in there. So it's got front and rear. So you can put them in there and they've got a little cushion in there so they don't bang around and get messed up, which is awesome. And they clip down tight. Listen to that. Oh yeah, that thing's not coming apart. They're made out of really strong polymer. And then also too, we're going to go spark plugs. This is a nice spark plug holder, which is really awesome. It's got a front on the front, obviously, and then a rear on the rear. So that way, when you're tuning your car, you can pull your spark plugs out and read them. And there's a nice little handy holding place there for it, which is awesome. And we're going to get to something else with this. Another one too that he's got
is super handy with like your nitrous. If you're a nitrous fan and you should be reading plugs, this should be like your modus operandi. Get some of this swag here, and that way you can actually do your job easy.
Speaking of nitrous, he's got these awesome. Now, if you notice, look at how thin this is, but look at how much capacity this thing's got. And it's got a little right there where you can write it. So this is either for jets, nitrous jets, whatever you want to do. Also, too, once again, slaps down. Look at how small that is, how thin. Nice little package on there. This is going to be, I've got 3 more things. This one's cool. So when you're tuning things and you're sitting there, your air bleed screws or your idle adjustment screw, and you're not really sure, did I turn that 1/4 of a turn? Did I turn that 1/2 a turn? He's got little notches on here and he's got a little tag on there. So when you turn it, that's 1/8 of a turn. So you can go like, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 10 clicks, and you know the exact amount. You can hold this steady and count the amount of clicks all the way around. And it even has a 0 right there, and it's 8 for 1 rotation. It's badass, dude. And then also too, this fits for like jets, like air bleeds. It's thin enough for that too, because that's always a hard one to get to.
Dude,
And
I need to hit this guy up, man. I need to make some jet stuff.
Right. And then this is the coolest thing, man. So I have it on a really bitchin' display. So he does these carburetor holders here. So, and it does it in 4150 or 4500. I'm actually going to go a little big screen here. Sorry. Actually, you know what? We lost Dallas. There we go. So this thing holds 41 and 4500s. On top here, it's got the little holder where you can put your little jets. Also, too, I noticed what's cool about this too is that you can put this down and it goes right inside that. So this is on top of your carburetor, so you can put your jets, your spark plugs right there. You have a little tray.
Your tools like in the little pouches there on the side.
Exactly. It's badass. Look at that.
Yeah, that's nice. Man,
yeah.
Well,
so go hit them up. WAF Racing. The link's in there. Here's the best part of all is that if you put in this code Tech Space Talk, so Tech Talk, and when you go to checkout, everybody here gets 10% off. So I'm telling you, man, go check it out. Dude's awesome. He's a real dude. He's a real racer. He does a ton of Dragon drives, and I'm helping him out with a lot of different setups. So he's a cool dude. So go check it out, man. That was my spiel.
I'm trying to find the first comment of the night that's actually Tech Talk related.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen anything yet, honestly. Let's see here. And you know, Lout Burns was like asking, okay, what are all you usual suspects? What are you working on this week? And he was talking about working on the 69 Dart GTS. So, but let's see. And Clint's saying there's now too many in here to say hello. So, hey, hello to all. Let's see. Andy says he's working on some 318 stuff.
Oh,
so that's like hey, that
means all the RPM.
Yeah, prelude to the what's really happening. Okay. Okay.
I got one right here. Vintage Adventure Drive's asking.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. That was
Shane, any experience with the polyurethane lower the brand lower control arm bushings?
The Prothane bushings.
Was that?
Prothane.
Oh, I thought he was just misspelling polyurethane.
No.
No, I've never heard of Prothane. Never heard of them. Yeah, no, but I've never heard of them. I thought he was trying to say polyurethane, and he just misspelled it.
Yeah, but you know what? Pretty much polyurethane bushings, they all use the same polymer. So the reality is, it doesn't matter what company is making them.
Exactly,
they're pretty much the same across the board. But when you're talking polyurethane, there's upsides and downsides to every one of them. Yes, it stiffens everything up, but the downside squeaks and rattles, and well, it doesn't rattle, it squeaks a lot.
Harsh.
Yeah. And the ride generally is way more stiff.
Yeah. Now, what I do especially on Chryslers, because they have the torsion bar, is I'll put a polyurethane bushing in the bottom, and then if it's on the street, I'll run the rubbers up top, just because of oil leaks and stuff. But if you're going to do that, they sell these lower control rod that go through the K member that holds onto it that are greasable. I'm not sure which company makes it, but they have a little grease fitting on there. You have to get those because that way you can inject grease into that and it stops it from squeaking. And it's an amazing thing to do that. And it does harshen the ride on the bumps, but it does keep it so that way it doesn't start to wallow. Like there's a big difference between the wife's car and then my green dart, because the wife's car's got still rubber bushings in them, and the green dart's got the polyurethane. It does make it harsh. You do hit bumps and it's wham, wham. Where in the wife's car, it's kind of like a big cushy pillow. So there's a trade-off there.
Yeah, for me personally, daily drivers, I leave the rubber in them. If it's something that you're going to the track, like occasionally, you know, you might want to. But if it's something that's like dedicated track piece, for sure, right? Yeah. Or if not, spherical rod ends, like solid bushings.
Yeah,
but okay.
If you're going to do it on one more thing is that if you're going to drive this on the street, and especially on a Chrysler, I would highly recommend just putting the polyurethane in the lower one only, in the rubber up top, just because that way you never have to touch it again. You never have to touch it again.
Well, Clayton's Toolbox says I had a custom cam made based on all the details of my car while the heads were in the shop. The builder went from a 207 intake valve to a 212.5 intake valve. Will this negatively affect the cam choice?
No,
I don't think it'll actually impact anything. You might see something. Probably the flow is not going to be that much better. I don't believe
it's gonna balance itself out because of shrouding from the wall. If you didn't increase the bore size at all, it's any increase you're going to get will be negative on the other side just from that. So it'll basically be a wash. Is what I'm getting at.
I was going to say that the port actually probably reaches max velocity with that 207 valve. And I doubt you'll see any kind of gain, with the exception of if the camshaft was, let's say, 1,000 RPM more than what it was before, and you push the RPM band up, it will actually probably nose over earlier because the springs will lose control of the heavier valve at higher RPM.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would see too. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Val 360 Jimmy's in here saying, "Hey boys, how you doing?" Okay, KS Skyhawk says, "Shane, congratulations on your invention is being accepted, now being marketed to the world. That's so cool." Let's see. Loutburn says piston ring holder rocks. I don't know. Did we?
Oh, maybe
one of them piston ring holder.
No, this is spark plug, and this is not a piston ring holder. This goes on top of the carburetor, so you can, and it basically holds your tools. So if you have like, a wrench that goes in one side, screwdrivers, you can. It's big enough for screwdrivers right here. But yeah, I don't see anything. There's nothing for piston rings. But what I like the best is that fits right in there. That's awesome.
Huh. Okay. Waff Racing says, "I know it was good meeting you all. And thanks, Shane, for the kind review."
Oh, no problem, dude.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for being the first proud sponsor of Wednesday Night Tech Talk Live. We've only, we've been doing this, I think, 4 years. I've been doing it for.
What was the first year you guys announced the No Name Nationals? Right? What it was? What 22?
22, yeah.
So
you've been doing it 3, going on 4.
3, because I came in right when you guys announced it. I was trying to get my time, and that's when I came up there with Tony, and then Tony just stopped doing it on Wednesday, and then we took it over the following week.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Levi's Backyard Performance at 710 says, "Anyone know where to buy inexpensive header building mandrel bends? Trying to have $300 to $500 total in a set of headers. Prefer mild steel."
Get them from Summit. That's actually what I buy. Summit, if you get a big block Chevrolet custom header kit, it's like $200, and it comes with everything that you need. They also have them for small block Chevrolet. They have them for everything. If you've got the flange and all the little extra tubing that I've done for my Slant 6, I've still been using that same header kit. So Summit has a header building kit, and it comes with all these different U-bends. You can't even buy the U-bends and all that stuff for how cheap this thing is.
And that's what I was just going to say too. Summit Racing sells J and U-bend kits. That's like essentially for a header kit, and it all comes in one big box, and you're meant to weld it up.
Yep.
One thing I do know is headers are kind of getting attacked by the EPA at the moment, so it's kind of hard to get a hold of headers at the moment.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
You think that there'd be kind of a
well, I guess this is something that's been enacted, and it won't take, it's taking full effect now, and we'll have to take some time to be cut out of there. But yeah. So Fab Race Mod Repeat says, "I'm working on another 9.3 Pontiac, another 390, and of all things, a Hyundai Accent rally car."
Nice.
So, yeah, I know who the 93 Pontiac belongs to. It's this guy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Michael Schmidt. It's Tech Talk, not Tech Video. Tech Talk. Tech space Talk. That's the code.
Okay. Aunt D says, "I haven't measured yet. Any idea in how to attach a ring gear to a flywheel that might be a bit smaller than the original outside dimension. Okay, they were all generally like that. It's like a press fit.
Right.
And what you're supposed to do is heat that ring gear up with a torch and get her nice and warm. Or you can put it in the oven, right? Just pull the pizza out, throw that sucker in there, let it get nice and 400 or 500 degrees, and it'll swell up a bit. And then what you do is you throw it right on that flywheel, and you use you can use a couple of ways to do it. You can do it with a hammer and tap it around. A lot of guys use a air hammer, just go around that sucker real fast and knock it right into place. And then it shrinks and compresses on that flywheel.
I've actually done it with, I put the flywheel in the freezer for overnight. And then right before that, I put the ring gear in the oven, and then literally you just drop it on there, and then you just leave it alone. Like you set it up so that way when you drop it on, and it literally falls into place, and then you just leave it alone. Don't touch it, and it'll just
let it cool, huh?
And let it cool. Exactly.
Unity Motorsports Garage. Oh, okay. Vintage Adventure drives. The Prothane brand is indeed a polyurethane bushing. I plan to install them in my Scamp since I blew the bushings on it yesterday.
Oh yeah. Then if you're going to put polyurethane lower bushing, once again, get that lower control arm, that lower control rod that goes through the key member that the bushing goes onto. It's got a nut on it. There's one that's a greasable unit. Buy that. I have that on the green car. It's amazing. As soon as it starts to squeak, you put some grease in there and you're good to go.
All right. Right below that, Junkyard D says, does the seat back need to be mounted to the roll bar for tech at what speed? Okay, so this is kind of an ambiguous question, and you've left it pretty broad. I'm assuming you have an aftermarket seat. If you have an aftermarket seat that has like seat belt pass-throughs, and you're using the seat belt pass-through, you have to mount the back of the seat to the roll bar. It has to be literally suspended from the roll bar. If you have a factory seat and you're not using a 5-point harness and pass through holes in the seat belt, you do not have to have it attached to the roll bar. Matter of fact, I would almost go out on a whim and say that you probably don't even need a roll bar at this point, unless the thing is like, I don't think any of the cars were running faster than 740s that were like street cars, right?
No.
You had the boys from SSR that were like, came out and showed everybody what's up. But I mean, I don't think either. Well, I guess the Rusty Nova is a street car still. So plates and stuff on it. Maybe that yellow Malibu did as well. I don't know.
They both did.
Yeah. Well, you may need a roll bar, especially when you start tickling the low sevens. It just depends the sanctioning body and what track you're running at, right? You could probably go to 5 different tracks around Sykeston, Missouri, and nobody'd ever even check. But yeah, you drive 1 hour north and they're going to go through your stuff with a fine tooth comb.
Right. A magnifying glass, right?
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. So KS Skyhawk is saying, I'm taking measurements for the critical areas on the side ports of my 350 head as I listen.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Well, I know he's going to get big into it. He sent me an email the other day, just yesterday, actually. And he said he's about to seriously get into cutting what I call the foreskins, but the snuffleupagus on the exhaust ports of the Buick. If you cut them suckers off, I'm sure there's a lot of gain in that, because it works just like a small block Dodge head then, because it puts the port way up high.
Oh, yeah.
Right. With an extreme angle of it coming out, instead of it comes out and then goes down through the snuffleupagus, and it's dumb. It's like
the anteater, right?
Yeah. What are you trying to do here?
Right. I think what they're trying to do is just get it so that way it was pointing down, so they could put a manifold down low,
and it was going to be quiet, and it wouldn't crack or anything like that. But when you're talking full race stuff, man, that port way up high. If you listen, way back in like the 90s, when the Ford 5 liters were the ticket, TrickFlow made a cylinder head for small block Ford called the High Port, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like literally the sought after cylinder head even to this day, right? They stopped making it in like 2004, 5, somewhere around there. And they're still sought after. And the High Port is not necessarily what everybody would think, where it's like the intake ports are raised. They are, okay? Don't get me wrong. They're raised probably 1/4 of an inch. But it's the exhaust ports that gained them the High Port name.
Yeah.
And that is a huge gain when you're talking exhaust flow. And that's what's interesting when you look at manufacturers across the board. Like I always say this: the Buick got 15-degree valves, right, from the factory. Well, Mopars came with a high port exhaust port, from the factory.
Yeah.
So there's reasons why all this stuff has evolved into what you go and you go buy is a cylinder head that has all these other tricks done to it that everybody else had already produced. And generally you find those cylinder heads fall under small block Chevy and big block Chevy. And everybody else is just stuck with their whatever they had to begin with.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
At KS Skyhawk, the name is WAF, W-A-F, WAF Racing right here. That's it right there. WAF Racing. Yeah, go check them out.
Oh, okay. So WAF Racing at 714, we're behind, dude.
Oh, I know.
We make a piston ring holder too. Maybe he's seeing that. Maybe he's looking at the website while we're doing the live and he's seeing the piston ring holder. So yeah, maybe I haven't even been over there. I found out about this literally just minutes before you. So that's awesome. I'll have to check out the website and see what I can order up. Let's see.
Oh yeah, we are way behind.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me jump ahead here. Wow. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, so Miss Cat G at 715 says, Shane, during COVID, I purchased a single pattern street roller for a Cleveland. Can Comp Australia modify some duration out of the intake to get a good split? 12.5 to 1, 4V CHI, 400 cubic inch.
Can Comp? We have an Australian Comp? I didn't know that.
You may have a subsidiary down there. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Well, if we do, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean,
when I was in Australia, there was a guy that I crewed for. His name was George Zammit, ran a dragster. And he took his camshaft to a local cam grinder and they made it what do they call that? Small base circle camshaft.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
From his Chevrolet small block cam, they made it a small base circle because we went to a big 4-inch stroke.
Oh,
and you have to do that if you do a 4-inch stroke on a small block Chevy.
Yeah. 950
or a local cam grinder, and then just literally they cut almost the same profile but a small base circle.
Yeah, so you have to go to like 950 or smaller. I've seen those all the way down to a 900 base circle. The smallest one I've ever seen was an 850 base circle. Think about that. That's incredible.
Man, how does it not flex? I guess because if it's for a roller, it's a billet, right? So it's a blank that's destructible.
It's still going to flex because, man, that's tiny. Yeah, you're almost at the core diameter because the core diameter is going to be in the 800 number, right, on Chevrolet. But it's going to flex, and that's the problem. That's why you got to go to a crank trigger, and that's the reason why they have such big ones on the Gen 3 Hemi, the LS, as far as diameter goes. So that way they're much stronger. They're less prone to flexing.
Well, also, the bigger the cam bearing that you have, the more capability of load disbursement that the camshaft has, so the heavier the spring it can handle.
Yeah, I put it this way: a cam is just basically a mechanical computer. The bigger it is, the more information you can put onto it. It's that simple.
Yeah. Okay. Aunt D says the issue with the ring gear is the flywheel might be too small. The old ring gear was brazed on the flywheel.
Oh, well, that's fine. Just you can melt it right off and then take it off, and then once it's on there, when you put it the ring gear on there or the flywheel, put some flux on it and then put the ring gear on top of it. That way when it shrinks down, then you can just solder it right on and torch it right in, and the flux will just suck it right in. I've done that too. That's no big deal.
Braze.
Huh?
You mean braze, right?
Oh, did I say weld?
Solder. You said solder.
Oh, I'm sorry, solder. Yeah. I meant braze. I'm sorry. But yeah, I just put flux on it, and then yeah. That's what I meant.
Let's see.
Oh, she's saying add more on the exhaust base circle mod. Usually what they can do is it's going to make the base circle a little smaller, but it depends on how much more. Usually if you decrease the lift a little bit, you can get more duration without changing much of the base circle. So that way it's just easier. everyone's got their own way. It really depends on how much more. Let's just say, for instance, if you're 240 and you wanted to go to say like 250, it's going to take a lot. But if you get to like say 246, it's going to take a lot less. And let's just say you have a 300 lobe lift. If you say I'll be fine with 290, then it'll be almost about the same base circle then at that point.
So SSR Performance is saying that, what do you have for front suspension on your blue car, Shane?
I have it is a tubular K member. What is that thing? Who is the guy that made that? It's like it QA1. I think it's a QA1. But yeah, it literally is a stock upper control arms. It goes to the stock pickup points at the top. The bottom just gets rid of the torsion bars, and it's just got coilovers on it. So, and it's got a rack pinion in the front. So it just got rid of the lower control arms, and it goes to like an A arm in the bottom and control arms. But it's a QA1, but it's not the bitching QA1 that's like on my 68. It's just like I'm going to have
factory replacement, upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. But it did get rid of the factory K member to a tubular K member, so it lost about 100 pounds up front.
So right below that, Dylan Levi says, if I plan on going into the high sixes, when is the roll bar not enough? Brooks S10 is going to be full interior just so I meet weight requirements. I really don't want to cage it yet. Well, then slow it down to like 740s and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, 740s a cutoff, and then after that, I think the next one is what 630s. Isn't that it?
That's have an 8-port. 639 technically.
Yeah, 639. Yeah, once you get into 630s.
Yeah, and the thing is like if you're going to cage something, if you're going to take the time and money to put in a 4-point, you might as well make it a 6-point. But then what you want to do is there's a point where it's like you stop when you put the kidney bars in, okay? And then generally what's going to happen is that's where you actually have to add more cage at 639. And
might as well just go.
That's when you just go for it right there and you make it into a 10-point.
Yeah.
And see, the 10-point gets much more critical because it's got a dash bar that has to go across, like essentially under the dash to connect the two hoops together. And then it also has the halo up top. And then you generally have the outriggers that go forward and tie into the frame through the firewall.
Yeah. And then also too, make sure to put some, if you're that fast, you're probably going to have a window net at some point too. So make provisions for that too at the same time.
Let's see. And Dylan, you're a fabricator.
Yeah.
So like that would be like your bread and butter.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be like right in your wheelhouse, dude. You're a welder. Okay. Dan's Garage says, interchange question. Will an A535 out of an 88 D150 fit in place of a 76 manual 3-speed? And now this is a Mopar thing, right?
He means probably A535. A535.
Isn't an A550?
Yeah, it's either like an A500 or an A518 usually, but I'm just going to see if there's an A535. It'd be a new one on me. Okay. So an A535 is a 5-speed manual. That's why I didn't know about it. Okay. Oh, it's a new process gear drive. I couldn't tell you at that one at all. That is I wouldn't know the answer to that at all because I didn't even know what transmission that was. So
well, it's an easy no.
It's an easy no.
I'm just throwing that out there to joke, right? I don't know if it'll go or not. So
it's also okay. Now I know why, because the name is normally a New Venture NV 2500. Okay, so there's two names for it: the A535 and the New Venture. Okay, the New Venture is a much bigger transmission than that 76 manual 3-speed. So would it fit in there? Well, the D150, the 88, I've had one of those trucks. It's got a ton of room underneath there. They made those for everything. I don't see why it wouldn't fit. But as far as being a direct replacement, I don't think so. But it can definitely go in there and fit just fine.
Okay. Andrew Nelson saying, Shane, on a stock long block dual overhead cam V8 with a turbo, Would you advance the exhaust or retard the intake first, or vice versa?
For what? What are we trying to do?
I'm assuming this probably has to do with that VK56 that they're putting in, that they took out of the Nissan and put it in. I don't remember what they put it in.
Oh, okay. Well, then I would retard the exhaust, and because that way, if you bring the intake events, basically you just need to math it out. Just find out what the events are happening. But usually you retard the exhaust, and that way it'll widen the LSA, and I'll get it away. But that way you're not advanced. You're not moving the intake advance sooner. Bringing the ICL, the intake lobes, center line too soon. This way you're backing it up for the higher RPM. That's what I would do. But as far as I would retard the exhaust first, or other. No, I would just retard the exhaust. I wouldn't mess with the intake much. I would only advance the intake for low RPM, and then I would retard the exhaust, and then bring the intake back. But on a dyno, that's all I would do. I don't know.
SSR Performance is saying, are we allowed to run bolt-on I members? Is I next to a K? Yeah. Maybe he means a K member. I haven't ruled it. Let me see if he's got something else in there. No, we're just about caught up. It says, I'm assuming that means K members. Are we allowed to run bolt-on K members?
As long as the factory pickup points. Here's the thing about a K member.
Got to be factory suspension pickup points, and that means you can't have extra holes in the sucker.
Exactly.
Right? To move things around. It needs to be like a factory replacement, but it can be lighter. You're running weight to cubic inch, so it's fine as long as it's similar to the factory.
Yeah, and that's the reason why. That's the reason why the blue car would never be able to run, is because it got rid of the lower control arms. It's got an A arm on the bottom because the torsion bars. I got rid of the torsion bars, so that's why I could never run in that whole class. Is because of that. So as long as it has that, then yes. But if it doesn't, then no.
WAF Racing is asking, Shane, what's your opinion on green bearings and a Mopar rear end? I have a new Moser rear end, which I installed before 666 last year. Ran the car all the way to New Mexico and home. Did sick week in February. With the car, and just recently 6 Smokies, and of course driving around locally. And now I have some growling axle bearings that I'm changing tomorrow. Is 15,000 miles on a set of those bad boys good?
Yes.
I don't know what this thing runs.
Yeah, no, it runs. It's pretty fast, but here's the thing: it's quick. Okay, it's not fast; it's quick. The green bearings, 15,000 miles is about right. I change mine out on a race car every 10,000. It's a ball bearing, and a tapered bearing. You can side load those a lot greater, but then you have to adjust them constantly. But 15,000 miles, that's actually a good number. Always keep a spare, and if you've got a press, that you can change those things out in an afternoon by taking them out, putting them back in. It gives you a chance to change the grease and the oil in it and call it good. But that's about right, 15,000 miles. I like them personally because that way I don't have to worry about the green bearings have an O-ring and then they're sealed. So even if your seals go out, you'll never have an oil leak that goes onto the drum brakes. It never will leak because the green bearings seal it. So I'm a big fan of them.
Levi's Backyard Performance says, that's like asking the family member who's a comedian to tell a joke at Thanksgiving. I just don't have the fire in me at the moment. Hey, man, well, wait till John announces that the race is happening on X of the X date, and you'll probably find the fire.
Or also, too, maybe where's he live at? He lives up north a little bit, right? Wait until the first snow.
He chose an S10 pickup, and you know how much of a pain in the ass put a cage in one of those is, right?
Yeah.
But the good thing is, dude, there's some saving grace to this. You got that big flat back window that you can replace with Lexan and literally just glue it in.
Yeah,
it'll be done.
And everybody out here, here's the thing about it. I think it's weird is because everybody out here's got S10s with LSs in them, and they all have turbos and headers. Some of them have just they just have headers with nitrous on them, and they don't look like they were custom made. They just look like over the counter headers. So I'm actually rather surprised. And a lot of those don't have the inner fenders in them. So take the inner fenders out and give yourself some more room.
Aunt D says, what kind of solder did you use? That's kind of what I was thinking about. He misspoke when he said solder. He was actually brazing, right? Didn't you say it was brazed on?
Yeah, it was brazed on, but I've also now here's the thing too is I've used solder when I've made extensions from like my reamer for like when I did Andy's um, engine when I put the for the reamer that put for the copper tubing.
Uh-huh.
I put that together with solder. So I heated it up really hot and I just went down and got regular, believe it or not, just regular solder. And then the one that was the female version of it, that's where I put the solder and the resin in, and it was hot. And then the male end that was going in, I froze that, and then be careful, and I just dropped it in there, and then it just literally locked on. And it didn't have any, it wasn't an interference fit. It was literally still to this day being held with solder, but I just used regular old solder. It will work. But on the ring gear, I brazed that because it's too big of a surface area. The solder will not hold that amount of torque.
So Lot Burns says, WAF Racing, yep, me too. Mosier, Dana, Green Bearings, and they told me that they re-engineered the bearings to cure that failure problem. We will have to live with this crap. I just, okay, bearings are all generally outsourced anymore. I don't know where the Mopar green bearings come from. I'm just throwing that out there. A lot of the bearings, if you noticed, a lot of the bearing manufacturers in the United States went away about, I'd say 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And there was only a couple left. Like Timken, I think, was a big holdout. And I don't know if they're still around. I haven't bought any Timken bearings in a while. I mean, they just aren't a hot seller if you're not tearing something apart and rebuilding it completely. But yeah, I don't know much about the bearings. I just know that a lot of the manufacturers that used to be around that made good quality pieces like bearings are gone because they can't get the quality steel that they make the bearings out of.
It's the hardened steel that they're having a hard time with. But I can tell you that 15,000 miles, if you got 15,000 miles of those green bearings, you did good. I mean, that's about the time. I have green bearings in the green car. And I've changed those out. I change those out every 2 years, but it's just a Friday afternoon thing, turn John on, take the thing out. And I've got a press right over here, press them out, press them back in. You're good to go. Cause it's just a roller bearing. It's a skateboard bearing. It's going to roll. It's going to wear out.
So Michael Schmidt, right below that one, he says, horsepower torque curves. If you can't RPM an engine and have to rely on higher torque for street strip, what types of mods do you think about for vintage engines up to 5K? All right, so this is like really my wheelhouse. Those Buicks, this is how they do it.
Right.
But the thing is, horsepower is just a mathematically figured number, right? Okay, the only thing that a dyno can measure is torque. And then it just takes torque versus RPM and creates a mathematical curve for you that's appealing to the eye for horsepower. I've never been a fan of the dyno because if you look at it, most of your street, like real street engines, work from 1,000 RPM to 2,500. Well, where's the dyno generally start to measure? I think the lowest I've ever seen is 2,500 where it starts.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't get a real understanding of what kind of torque and what kind of work the engine can do at low RPM. And that's the only reason that is the way that it is because the math doesn't really work way down low to give you a horsepower number, right? It'll measure torque, but you can't pull the brake hard enough to give it a reasonable number generally is the problem. I think the water brake is the limitation.
Yeah. Also, too, it really comes down to on horsepower, how many RPM per second. That will skew. So, like most engines are going to be rated at, say, 300 RPM per second. And if you really want to test it, you do 500. Now, if you test one engine at 300 RPMs per second, and let's just say it makes 500 horse, you do it at 500, it's going to make probably 450 because it can't do that as fast because it's basically work versus RPM. One's a dependent, one's an independent variable. The independent variable would be torque. The dependent variable is horsepower. It's dependent on how much torque is at RPM. So that's the reason why. So depending on how fast you go. So like pro stock engines, sometimes they'll do those things at 6 or 7. We've seen them test them at 1,000 RPM per second, and they're still making crazy horsepower because they can RPM that fast. It comes down to lightweight stuff. So, but
Well, to make so when you're focused specifically on street drivable torque mods that you're going to make, the the most important thing you can do is meet peak velocity in the cylinder head as best as possible, right? That's what you want to do as quickly as you can get there, right? So that generally means lean heavy towards the intake side to where the intake side flows really well. And then the exhaust side, you can counter, like if it doesn't have like very good exhaust flow characteristics, you can counter that with like more compression. So,
and camshaft.
And camshaft is a big crutch for it as well, because it can increase how long the valve is open or how far the valve is open, right, to change the flow characteristics of the exhaust port. But the things that you would really lean on the most would be your camshaft, would be a good intake manifold, and then
Headers.
The exhaust, anything below 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. I would just keep the exhaust manifold on it and port the heck out of that sucker.
Yeah, that's the only time we're going to differ, is because the longer tubes, that's what builds torque. So the longer the tube, the header, because of that's when you start getting your first, second, third order of like wave tuning. That's where it actually sends a signal back to the carburetor, and that's what builds the torque. The collector and then the pipe at the end, that's what's going to build the horsepower, because that's what's going to make the scavenging. But the length of the tube of the header, the longer you can keep those individual, that's going to build the torque, because then it's scavenging each pulse before it sends it way back up there. So the longer the first order you get, that's where you're going to build the torque as far as the tuning of it. I would also too on the camshaft. He's right though, on the camshaft, it's really important on that. I would try to tighten up the LSA, and I would make it even, like when I say tighten it up, I would probably put it at like say 105. Don't run maybe even 104. We do this for a lot of those aircraft with those airboats. I make those cams for airboats. They're only running at say 2,500 RPM because they got a stepper up gearbox. And some of those cams are like 210, 215, but they're on like a 104 LSA, and they install them on a 100 intake center line, and literally it's all the torque right now, and then it just falls right off. So look at those, play with ICL and lobe separation angles, and I wouldn't go very big on the camshaft at all, but I would try to keep the overlap window as small as possible. So I wouldn't go probably over, I'm not really sure what cubic inch you're dealing with here, but I wouldn't go over probably 200, 205 degrees of duration at 50, and then tighten that thing way up, and it would make a shit ton of torque.
Okay, so Val360 Jimmy says, Shane, what front shocks would you run in an A-body Mopar with torsion bars? Out back, I've got Caltrax and Ranchos chassis connectors. Currently got 9010s, but need replacing.
Calvert. Just go get the 9010 Calverts. They work.
Well, and it depends what you're wanting to use that thing for.
Well, if it's
for like street, like 9010 kind of sucks. You would want to get it adjustable so you could throw that sucker to the 90-10 when you go to the track and put it back at like say 60-40.
Yeah, you can. If you want to replace them, you can get some Vikings or whatever. I've done all that, but the cost of those things for those double adjustables, man, they're expensive, because to get a 90-10, you can't get a single adjustable. You have to get a double adjustable for that. But for me, I just dealt with it. And when I had a 90-10 on it, what I would do is I had a sway bar, and I'd hook up the sway bar, and I would tighten down the where it went to the frame, and that helped out too quite a bit. It helped out with the whole, like, pig rolling. It actually really helped out. So if you're going to drive it on the street, get some 90-10s, put a sway bar on the front of it. But that's the cheap way to go. If you can afford it, get the double adjustable shocks.
Levi's Backyard Performance says, so some K members remove the bottom's rear control arm mount and replace it with a light metal tube and tabs for the bolt. Technically, it's a factory pickup point, but it's been modified. Here, look, this is the easy way to tell. If I went down to the parts store and I bought a replacement A-arm and I can't put it on there, your shit's no good.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly what I was going to say. If you can't put a factory one back on there, then it doesn't pass. That's exactly what it is.
All right, KS Skyhawk is WAF Racing. Maybe you want to chime in on this for KS Skyhawk's trying to order some stuff through PayPal on your WAF Racing website, and he said it's losing its bearings. So you might want to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Mean Street Mopar. Professor P, I was thinking about picking up a set of ported W2 heads and intake. I have a fresh machine 40 over 318 short block. Would it be worthwhile to use the W2 heads on a 318 and Triple Crown? Hell yes, brother.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like a huge gain.
The W2s come in two versions, the 202 valve and the one, I think it's the 198s. Or the one, I think it's 198s or 188s. I can't remember what the intake is, but if you go 40 over on a 318, absolutely. I'm telling you, man, it's going to RPM to the moon and you'll love it. And that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah. I actually want to see that sucker run right now. That was the whole idea when we put the Triple Crown together, was stuff like this. Yep. Literally stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. And the W2, that was my very first race engine I ever made. I had W2 heads on a 340. It was an amazing engine. And I blew up the 340. I put it on a 318, and I think it was 90 over or 60, or I think it was 90. It was like a 4-inch bore. And man, that thing would just freight train. I couldn't tell the difference between a 340 and a 318 as far as power. It was just the same, and it was a 4-speed. It was awesome.
And there's something I should have said when we were talking about here's Mama M3 giving Dylan Levi a bunch of crap right below that one, saying if you can build a cage for the Honey Badger, I'd think an S10 would be a piece of cake.
Right?
I should have said this when I bit my tongue. Dylan, I do stuff all the time that I don't like to do.
Yep.
Right? All the time. That's like 90% of life. Welcome to life. That's right? Get out there and do some shit you don't want to do, but it's all for the good. Think about Brooke being happy, putting folks on the trailer.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. And guess what? You get to be her backup girl. How about that?
Hell yeah. That's what you should do, man. You should wear some thigh-high boots and and a freaking skirt and back her up.
Dude, I got to tell you, there was a group of 3 guys, and they were in a blue Chevy, and it was a gasser. And the guy who was the backup girl for the guy, he was dressed in this blue, like the Blue Man suit, and he had a broken leg, and he was on a little cart, and he wore a little headband with little pigtails on it. Oh man, it was too much, man.
That's that's when you don't when people stop. But Shane and I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
When you stop taking drag racing so seriously that you're like, I got to win. I got to be the number one. That's all there is in life. If you totally negate that and say one person, this whole group is going home with the money, everyone else is a loser, right? And you embrace the loser, right? And you just have fun with it. That's when it's like through the roof. If you win anything, great. But it's just icing on top of having a fantastic weekend. That's really where I'm at. And we learned that. And like I said, I learned that racing with Shane in Southern California, standing around looking at all these guys. It's like some of these cars ran like 5.0s, all motor, right? And you're like,
4s.
I can't compete with these guys.
Yeah, you do. Right?
But I just realized what we did was Shane and I was like, kind of like this light bulb came on, like, who gives a fuck if you win or you lose or whatever? Nobody gets anything out of this really, except for the one dude that wins the whole thing. And generally the guy with the fastest car shows up, wins it. Yeah. Right. So we started handing out trophies to everybody else for things that like you wouldn't think mattered. Right.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it was when we hit that guy, Ron Jones,
right,
that it like all came together, that I realized, man, we're doing this all wrong. This is the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that dude was elated. He messaged me for like 5 years straight. Hey man, it's the anniversary you gave me that trophy. This is so awesome. He'd send me a picture of it, and it's like, hey man, this must really mean something to you.
Dude, think about that. Like he's going to have that memory forever. Remember? And we were just welding that. We were just pulling parts out of I was pulling out parts out of the scrap bin, and you had some pistons. Remember that? It was just,
it was
the trophies.
He's a small block Ford, it was a small block Ford rod and a V6 Ford piston I bought for clearance price off Marketplace Rock Auto.
Rock Auto,
And we just pressed them on, and then literally it was like this dinky piston on our connecting rod. And people were like, dude, that's so cool. When did you put it? Like, how did you get a piston to hang out on that piece of wood? It's like, dude, these are just regular, they're bolted through the wood. It's that simple. Yeah, but that's just small piston. Like, yeah, it's for like a V6 Ford or a 4-cylinder Ford. Let's see.
Chris was saying that he says, "Thanks, Shane. Sounds like become part of my regular maintenance." Absolutely. If you're running green bearings, anyone's running green bearings. Every 2 years, just buy them. It's cheap insurance. They're like $116 for 2 of them. Take them, press them on, press them off. I always do it in the wintertime, and I just change them on the green car. It's what I do. But Chris, go and check out KS. Was it KS Skyhawk? Yeah, KS Skyhawk was trying to use the code, and he said it wasn't working. So check that out. He was just trying to buy some spark plug holders. So go and check that out for him. Thanks.
Clint Street Machine says, I wonder if a diesel dyno would measure torque at those lower RPMs.
It does. It does. Because it has a bigger brake. It's a bigger diameter brake and it's not made for the same RPM. And because it's a bigger brake in diameter, the tip speed of that is much faster. So when you have a smaller one, you got to have higher RPM to get the tip speed. Well, this one, because it's bigger in diameter, it's got the tip speed, even though it's going only, 1,000 RPM, that tip speed now is the same as if it was this big. And so they can load the brake correctly that way. But yeah, they will not go much over 3,000 RPM because that tip speed, then you start to cavitate water at that point.
It's all limitation of the brake. That's really what it is, the water brake.
Exactly right.
Okay, Junkyard D says, I'm having difficulty finding the lower front shock bushings.
Where
I'm at 742. Shocks I have came with a mounting bar through the bushing. I just need the bushing with eyelet for the bolt to go through. Oh, dude. Okay, front suspension pieces are generally bought in like all together. It's very difficult to find just the bushings, but I'm sure that if you go to like Energy Suspension, you can buy the individual bushing in polyurethane. I'm not 100% positive on that because I generally shocks, if you're dealing with shocks come with the bushings in the box and then you can't get them otherwise. There was something else that I had dealt with recently that was like that, where you couldn't get something, like if you broke it or whatever, you had to buy a whole new piece. Like, I'm trying to think of what it was, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Levi is saying something here. Is torque converter or cam first? Both. You got to do them both at the same time because they work in conjunction with each other. I'm not going to read the rest of it because I will tell you right now. I probably know the rest. Is that if you have a high stall, you're going to be outside your torque curve, and therefore it's not going to work correctly. Second, if you have a big camshaft and a low stall, you're going to be below your torque curve, and then it's not going to work correctly. So it will never work together. Those are two that have to be basically spec together correctly at the same time because they work. One's the brain for the engine, the other one's the brain for the transmission. It just has to go that way.
If you want it to work right, the best thing to do is build the motor, put the cam in it that you want the specs for, dyno said motor, and then find out where it makes peak power. Then call your torque converter company.
Exactly.
Give the dyno sheet.
And if it's an over-the-counter camshaft, 99.99% of the times you can spec that converter without even doing anything. If you know that an LS has been done so many times now that let's just say you get a sloppy stage 2 or whatever you're getting, those durations with that type of head on an LS is a pretty known combination. You can usually spec the converter with very, very, very good accuracy. But if it's a crazy build and a custom cam, 100% do what Dallas said. Dyno it. Find out where the torque curve is and be 500 below that, so that way you can flash it up there and call it good.
Vintage Adventure Drive says, Shane, Mopar Performance 509 purple shaft in a 400 with CNC ported aluminum heads. About what RPM would you expect that engine to run out to?
About 6,500. It's about right.
And that's a good number. That's where, you know me, man. I'm like extra El Cheapo when it comes to like racing stuff.
Yeah,
I try not to spin any RPMs because the longevity of everything is so much more when you don't give it the buzz.
Yeah,
but man, that 400, they like the buzz.
Yeah, so 60. The reason why I say 6,500, it will RPM higher. I just believe that I've done this combination so much that right at 6,500 is where the parabolic's going to happen. It's going to start falling off, but maybe $7,000 is where it's really going to start falling off. But I would be shifting right at about
I bet
6,500.
probably not. I bet you 6,700 is probably the max. It's probably going to nose over at 6,700.
Yep.
And that's because that is actually a magic number in the engines. It's like, that's where valve train starts to become a significant factor, right? You know, weight of the valves, the retainers, the spring pressures. That's everything starts to become a significant factor in things. And I bet you're probably right. I bet 65 is all you need out of that.
Yeah, because I just had Performer RPM heads on mine that I used my templates that I had. I ported them with that, and then I had a Performer RPM, basically air gap. Well, anything on a big block is going to be air gap, but it was one of the air gap Performer RPM style intakes. That's the one I actually ran nitrous on. But yeah, it was about 6,500 RPM is where I would shift it at, because it just was no reason to RPM it beyond that, you know, especially if you're going to be having like a converter, because then you could just get back on the converter there, back on the K value of that thing, let her eat.
So Michael Schmidt's wanting to know if you saw that video he sent you and if you think it was AI.
Oh, I haven't looked. I've been so busy. I haven't gone through and looked at Select Daily Garage emails. I'm sorry. I typically do that before the videos, but I was going with Dallas on showing him all this stuff and getting him up to speed, and I did get a chance to look at it.
All right. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I've always wanted a set of W2 Econo heads to throw on my 318. I would love that kind of high RPM power.
It's awesome, dude. That was my very first, that was the very first time I sat in an engine and drove it, where I was just like, wow, like this is a small block. And I was just buried in the seat. Now all my friends had all these bitchin' 350s and tunnel rams, and we're all street racing. I literally had, that was with a 340. I had a 340 that was literally stock with a, I think it was the 509 cam, it was a purple shaft with those Econo heads on it, the W2s on it. And man, I annihilated them. Just took them to school, and it was in a dart, and I couldn't believe it. So they're amazing.
All right, look at the one below that.
Oh yeah. I'll put his ass in those white boots that I wore. Dude, perfect. And make him wear a tutu, I'm telling you, and a wig.
No one wants to see this.
I do.
All right.
I want to see that. I think that'd be awesome. You know what? Look, if he made, hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So if he made her do it, she could make him do it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Here we go. Yes. Do I get to wear the short shorts like Daisy Dukes? Absolutely. And is no family friendly? No, it'll be family friendly. Just keep it below the butt cheek line, right? So I don't want to see the curve. Other than that, all good.
Let's see. Unity Motorsports Garage says 8 finals this year and only got a tie in the never-ending race. So Andy's talking about him and Micah this year in the what did they race? Clark?
Oh, Clark
Griswold. Yeah. And the never-ending race was the one where they had to rerun it because the tree didn't work, or rerun it because the lights at the end didn't work, or rerun it because
of video. It was ridiculous.
I did too. And it was like, dude, I would have packed up my stuff like, look, man, I put you on the trailer 3 ways, 3 different ways. And no matter how you look at it, if you break it down to a drag race, you effing lost.
You lost. Right? I watched that video and I couldn't believe that was actually happening. It came down to not
at an event. I wouldn't, as the track, like working at the track, I'd be like, fuck no, them guys ran the race. It's done and over with.
Yeah, I would have been like, that guy knows someone at the track, and that's why they just kept allowing it to happen. He must have known someone at the track just so that way he wasn't getting eliminated. That
discredits the track, in my opinion.
Yes,
that discredits the track personnel. Okay, WAF Racing says I need to look up this race y'all keep talking about and figure out how to get involved. All right, so No Name Nationals. Yeah, it's like super easy to get involved. All you got to do is have a YouTube channel with 500 subscribers. And then you go to nonamenationals.com and you register. And last year, I think was what, $95?
Yeah, something right? Like that. It's $95. But it's a Thursday night. It's Friday racing. It's a Friday night burnout. It's Saturday racing, and then a Saturday night dinner. and you can basically, with that $95, you can enter in all events. We have burnouts. It's just amazing. The community's awesome too. You'll have more fun.
Everybody that's on here is generally there.
Yeah, exactly. All the people in this chat are there. Absolutely.
Let's see. Meat Street Mopar says, Professor P, the heads I'm looking at are the latest iteration of the W2 race head, ported by Shady Dell.
Okay.
Closed chambers 202 intake valve, I think.
Awesome. Make sure that you have an intake to match that. Shady Dell did some really good stuff. He kind of got a bad rap by a couple idiots, but as far as his stuff, he did really good work. He actually did some heads for me for a lot of the engines that I worked on, because me and him became decently good friends for a while there. The only thing I'm going to say is make sure the intake is ported, because you'll lose all that porting if you don't do your intake. Just know that.
The other thing is a 202 intake valve. If you're throwing it on a 318, you might want to have these neck size down. Like, I don't know if they make a 194 valve for the W2 head, but you're gonna at least want, at a minimum, open up the top of that bore.
Yeah, just
right?
make sure it's not going to hit.
Not bore.
I think a 202 will clear at either 40 or 60 thousandths on a 318, but I'm not 100%. I'm sure on that. I don't know, but I would try to get that as close to 4-inch bore if you could, and then put some concrete in the damn thing.
Okay, Vintage Adventure Drives on the topic of awards for random things. You wouldn't believe how happy it made me to get an award at No Name. I was very emotional over that. It was a perfect end to that awesome weekend. That's every year No Name Nationals. Okay, if you really want to enjoy that feeling every year, you come to No Name Nationals. It's okay. And here's the secret. I'll tell you. All right. The first year I was actually running the event with John, and we were getting things worked out. It was me and Barkley Schmidt and John making the whole thing happen. And it was the first one, so it was kind of a rough go. There was some slow times. There was some spots that people didn't really know what to do. We had a huge track cleanup because Candy Cane let her guts go. And then the second year, I ended up coming to participate, and I won a couple of awards. And then the third year, which was not this previous summer, 25, it was 24. I don't remember. I know what it was. That's where me and Shane took on those big 28-10-5 guys and literally took them to school on the tree. Yeah. I mean, there was some serious 28-10-5 heavy hitters out there, and me and Shane just like literally showed them what racing was all about.
We put on the clinic is what we did.
We went home first, second round, but man, did we put on a clinic on how to use that Christmas tree.
Yes.
And
good old SoCal street racing right there. Boom.
That's what like. This year, when I saw you, Vintage Adventure Drives, and Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage come out and just put 100% into this whole thing, and you'd never done it before, my heart was like overflowing for you guys.
Me too.
You know, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the feeling that you're supposed to get. That's the energy that you're supposed to put into it. And it brought me a lot of joy just watching you guys this year. And I had never experienced that before, ever. You know, it was just like kind of like your own kid did something good. And you probably won't understand until you're a parent, but you're like overwhelming with pride. And that pride kind of gets you right here, like, you know, okay, don't look at me too hard. Right? You know, you just kind of feel, and then that's kind of the way I felt about No Name Nationals doing its own thing with you and with Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage and with the guys from Indirect Connection, you know, Jason, and they were everybody was bending over backwards. Junkyard D, everybody showed up there to work on their car to get it ready for a Triple Crown. You know, the folks from SSR Performance, they put a freaking transmission in the middle of the night on the lift in the I don't know if you guys knew that, in the garage, trying to get that yellow car ready to go, right?
On a borrowed transmission.
Borrowed transmission on a borrowed lift, probably borrowed transmission fluid. I don't, because they poured out like 72 gallons of it at the track. it was, those are the things that like they make you so proud, that like people would be willing to put that kind of effort in for an event that means that much to them. So yeah, I hope I'm glad to hear that it meant a lot to you, but I'm telling you, man, that's No Name Nationals in um 5-second snippet.
Yeah, and that's why we do this. That's why Dallas and I do this on Wednesdays, is for you guys. If we would have had someone like this, like just displaying their knowledge every Wednesday night, we had to learn all this stuff just in sweat and grinding and busted knuckles, and I'm still doing it, still learning every day. But we share all of our knowledge with you guys. Like everything that I know, I tell you guys here.
Yeah, the whole idea was when we started doing this, we noticed a huge disparity in just basic car knowledge within the community between the Generation X, which Shane and I are. We had all, you guys used to, okay, the young millennials used to kick the shit out of the boomers all the time. Okay, boomer, you heard that a million times. But I'm telling you, our parents were the boomers. Our parents or the people of that generation knew all this stuff, and they taught it to us. And what we did was we saw there was a huge disparity between the millennial and everybody else, the Gen Zers and all that. They think the old car stuff is cool, but they get absolutely lost around the carburetor and the point systems. And like, they don't understand the basic necessity of it. If it's not plug and push buttons, they're lost. And that's where it was like, it became important not only to dispel bad information by other people on YouTube, but to educate the people that didn't have any experience with any of this stuff at all.
And we saw cars go from where you actually worked on your car and fixed them to disposable cars within our generation. I mean, literally from the 1980s till like 2007, 2008. That was the year of like cars were like changing from, you worked on them to like, let's just go get a new car. That was
Shane's right. That was 100% my lifetime.
Yeah,
our very first family car when I was a kid was a 1964 Impala 4-door, right? And that's a car you could have literally kept for
ever
a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. They make all the parts, you can put it all on. And my dad traded it in when I think when I was in the 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. So that'll make me about, I don't know, 9, 10 years old. Traded it in on a 79 Chevette, which was the first disposable car that I ever seen an American automaker make. I mean, because this thing, you could literally hear it sizzling down the road as in Illinois, as they're putting salt on the road in this freaking Chevette, which is made by Isuzu, just fucking vaporizing around its tires, right? That thing was so disposable, and we gave away that 64 Impala just for that.
Hey,
or
I'm going
to Bel Air.
I'm going to skip ahead again because we're about like 15 minutes behind on the chat.
Sure.
So I'm sorry for skipping ahead, but I'm oh yeah. So did you know this? Do you know that he started Pack Up on Wednesday Night Tech Talks? Did you know that?
No.
Oh, okay. So anyways, here's one more link. WAF Racing is his YouTube. He's got 24 subs. Let's get our new first sponsor ever. Go to him, sub to him, and let's get him in the No Name Nationals. But you're gonna have to put up some, Chris. You're gonna have to make some videos. All you got to do is just do some videos of you printing this stuff out, how you build it, show about the engine that you're building, and talk about your car. And I'm telling you, you're gonna get it. And just do some videos when you go out to your next Drag and Drive event. I'm not going to tell them what's about, but do that. I'm telling you, you will get your subs. 100%.
Well, okay. So Dizzy Izzy here saying UTG is doing a live tech talk now. I wonder where he got that idea. He did not get that idea, taking it from Shane and I. Originally, when this started, it was me and Uncle Tony doing the tech talk live on Wednesdays. It was me and him that came up with the idea when he came over one day and we were talking about doing a live show. And it's like, we should do Tech Talk Live. And what happened was Tony got in an argument with one of his viewers and it blew up huge, right? And then he got butthurt and he did not want to do Tech Talk Live anymore. So the last Tech Talk Live we did was on a Saturday morning, and he invited Shane out to do it with with us.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and Shane doing the Tech Talk Live, and we found out right then that was the very last time we were going to do a Tech Talk Live.
Yep.
And that Tony was going to do it. So Shane and I picked up the ball and ran with it because the community really needed it. Now, what happened was like literally, Tony doesn't have Tech Talk on there.
No,
it's like TED Talk.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to skip ahead. So Vintage Adventure Drive says that his 318 is a 60 overbore and it works well with the 202. I remember it being, I'm almost positive I remember it being 60 over. I said 40 or 60, but now I do remember it is 60 over to fit a 202 in that 318. That makes it a 3.97 overbore. And then you're still safe and you don't have to put concrete in it. So that's the way to do it. If you got a 318, go 60 over. 202 valve would be just fine.
All right. So mostly all parts. Ron Ward at 805 says, hi guys. Shane, what is the height difference between the standard Holley 4150 and the VRS carburetor?
I used to remember the number in my head, but I think it's 375 thousandths, I believe, is what the numbers come into my head.
Is that
it's about 3/8 of an inch, so a little taller. I mean, I've got one right here. I've got a Holley over there, but I believe
that makes sense because they technically have to make the Venturi bigger because it has a whole nother circuit, right? So
yeah. Well, and also too, it maths better, so that way you're not tapering it in too fast and tapering it out. So this way you get the airspeed to be more laminar, so that way it doesn't fall out of suspension as fast.
Huh. Perfect.
Oh, Bobby Fizzell showed up. What's going on, Bobby? It's good.
He says just street tuning on the Galaxy. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Mama M3 says, "Hey, everybody, go hit that like button for Shane and I." So we would really appreciate that. Even if you don't send us any money, hit that like button.
Right. Indirect connection right here is next project on Tanya's Valiant is rear end. It had enough of the full throttle launches and slamming second gear. She's really noisy.
Yeah, but you know what? Tanya was freaking happy, dude. She had a freaking smile from ear to ear every pass. I don't know how many passes that Valiant made at No Name Nationals in 25. But does anybody have a tally? I mean, Ron Ward would have to have known. Is it less than a bazillion? I know.
If you want, I have a 410 rear end. I will give you. It came out of Plan Z, so it's probably a Lincoln locked, but it's a 410 gear, and it's got the small bolt pattern. It's all yours. You can have it. Pick it up. It's all yours if you come down and get it.
And then Ron Ward says, indirect connection. I hope she comes back next year. So much fun to watch a newbie simply lay waste to the competition.
Where was that one? Oh,
that's at 8:11. And at 8:12, Jason says she's talking about it right now. She's absolutely going next year.
Good. Well, perfect. I'm telling you, if she wants some gear, you can have that 411. She's sitting on the side of the house, and it's got rims on it. And everything. So yeah.
So WAF Racing says YouTube content is on my radar. So many cool things going on in the shop. This is more motivation for me now. Okay. Hey, so you're a little early because they haven't announced the new dates. Ron Ward, oh my God. John Wilburn, who is our buddy in this. Yeah, he does a live show on Friday nights on the John Wilburn channel. And he is the one that's actually going to announce the dates on New Year's. That's generally when it goes down, New Year's. Then you can register. Once you register, the whole entire community will get behind you and start pushing your stuff out, right? That's how that normally works. And they teach you the ins and outs on how to edit, how to title things, and they kind of get you the ball rolling on your YouTube career. So that's what we suggest is that you get you register for the No Name Nationals as soon as you can, get on the roster. The community starts pushing your stuff because they know you're serious now because you register for the No Name Nationals. And trust me, they'll keep track of all your subs way better than you do.
And you also, then you can get on, what is it, the first of the 500, or what is that, what does John call that?
The No Name 500.
No Name 500, yeah. Is that what you were just talking about?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's that's what you become part of. Since you started a YouTube channel for this, you become part of a race within the race, the No Name 500, and you're eligible to win an award at the No Name Nationals just from being a participant and gaining your 500 subs.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna do this. Is that I got that question here. So he's asking if I can do that real quick. Do we? How far are we down to the bottom? We can get to it.
I can run through it.
Yeah, let me run through this because this won't take long at all. It's
Okay.
longer to read this.
Sure, go ahead.
So Buick Smith, Tom, he says he has a couple questions for the live show tonight. If you have time, number one, is there a way to know the advertised duration of a given cam of an unknown origin if you have the duration at 50 specs? Absolutely no, because of ramp rates. 904s, you're going to be able to ramp them in faster because it's got a bigger foot than say an 842 style of lifter, and that's the reason why usually when you do these like these desktop dynos and stuff, you want to do 50,000s because that's about where you can start to have measurable airflow, and blowdown happens at advertised. But because of different ramp rates, if you put an advertised number, and you could have one that says 272, it'll be 230, but the exact same 272 advertised could be like a 212 on a really slow ramp. So those are two wildly different camshafts, but have the same advertised duration because of how slow the ramps are. So that's a reason why you can't do that. Number two, maybe answering my own question, is the advertised duration the total duration measured at the valve with a dial indicator? So what that is that at the camshaft, it's when the cam, as soon as the lifter starts to move, they usually measure them at 5 thousandths of lift, or some do them at 6, but it's literally the 5 thousandths of movement, and then the 5 thousandths before it goes back to 0. And then usually between the 5 thousandths and the 50 thousandths, you can get basically that's your ramp rate. That's how it ramps in. Then you can tell from 50 to 200 how fast did it accelerate from that point. Those are two different things. And then you can usually from those and how it parabolics at the top, usually get those numbers and start getting your acceleration, your the velocity, and then you can get your jerk at that point. Question number 3, can you tell the ramp rates if you know the valve event numbers? And no, you can't usually, because the valve event numbers are basically just at either the advertised, or it's going to be the duration at 50. But if you have the advertised and you have the duration at 50, you can usually get an idea of how fast the cam's going to be between those two numbers, depending on if it's a hydraulic or a solid. If you have the 3 numbers, the 5, the 50, and the 200, you can absolutely kind of get an idea of how fast it is by those 3 different numbers. How do you know how steep of a ramp angle you can go on a flat tappet cam before it will start crushing, damaging to the lifter or the lifter valley? Usually you're not going to have a problem there. There's some very few engines, some Buicks, some Oldsmobiles that have like a lifter that's kind of hanging out in space. You might have a problem with, but typically it goes by the footprint of the camshaft, because the ramp as it comes in, you can't accelerate fast enough to where it goes off the edge and the lifter will hit the edge of the camshaft and start to dig into it. This is where Mopar's 904 lifter had the advantage back in the day, because the flat tappet was a 904. So with a given advertised duration of say 220, which is very streetable, you could make those things lift crazy amounts because you can get that thing accelerating much faster and have much more area under the curve. That's where the big advantage came with the Mopars. Once the roller lifter came in, the Chevrolets basically took that back, because of, then you could ramp them up just as fast. But that's really what dictates how fast you can ramp them on a flat tappet is the footprint. And it's literally called the foot. So on a 904, you can usually get to about an 870 to an 880 footprint safely. That gets you within about 10% of the edge, because you're wanting it to twist as you go.
Hey, so in the rule of thumb is the larger the diameter, the footprint on the lifter, or the longer the whole entire thing lives, right? Because I remember if you take apart a flathead Ford, it doesn't have traditional lifters. It has a tappet or a cam follower.
Yeah, it's massive.
and it's
Yeah.
like a 1-inch diameter, and they would never wear out. Matter of fact,
Correct.
the lobes would generally wear off the cam
That's correct.
before the Tappan did.
Exactly, because you have so much, it's so much larger, and the acceleration rate then is spread across a bigger area.
Oh
When
yeah,
you have,
I see.
yeah, so when something's smaller and it's accelerating, it's in a much smaller area because as you're accelerating, that lifter's turning. So something that's bigger has much more area to go around
Well,
than something that's smaller.
and generally when it's smaller, the thing activating it has to be smaller, right? So then now there's all that wear that would normally be on that large print is on that small print. So the ratio of what area wears would be exponential at that point.
That's correct. Yeah, exactly. It goes exponential, and then it gets even worse when you start running in rock arm ratios because remember you math the spring
Right.
pressure the other
Or
direction.
heavy duty springs,
Yeah, so
heavy
everything just
train.
gets worse. Yes,
Yeah.
but here's the thing: is that I've done a few videos on these. That if you don't know the camshaft, you can just basically put the camshaft in, and you can figure it out if you're decent with the degree wheel. There's been many times where I didn't know a camshaft. I threw it in an engine, and I just figured it out. It's really simple. I made a few videos on how to do it. You can get your lobe separation angle. That's the first thing you do. Then you install it on, say, like a 106. Then you start doing valve events. It's really simple. Just do it at 5,000s, 50,000s. Do it at 200. Get your max. Then
Well,
you
if you
can just make
remember,
a cam card.
that's how I ended up figuring out that the 67 Wildcat
Yeah, yeah,
in camshaft has a stage 1 Buick.
that's right. I was like, wasn't I at Crower at that point? I was hoping you over the phone.
You were, because I was like, man, I'm trying to figure this out, and there's no specs on this cam, there's no number stamped into it, there's nothing on it, and it doesn't have the groove in it, but it's out of this 67 Wildcat, which was the Hypo 430 with the big port heads and stuff. And you're like, all right, well, this is what you do. Put the wheel on there, and then we dialed it up and go 50 thousandths off the center, and it's like, dude, this thing has the exact same specs as the stage 1 cam. And it would make sense because why would Buick reinvent the wheel when they already had a perfectly good wheel in the back room, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
This is perfect right here. Waff Racing. I was in your boat when I started in last December. I worked from 25 subs to currently 1147. It's all worth it to go to the No Name Nationals. I'm telling you, look, I can go to 2 to 3 events a year, and I have access to go to any of these drag and drives I want to go. You know that. You've seen that. I choose to have one of my events always be the No Name Nationals because, one, it's fun and everybody worked to get there. They got a little skin in the game. They just throw a bunch of dollars at a wall and say, I'm going to go. No, they have to do some work. They have to get the 500 subscribers, and they got skin in the game. So they want to be there. Everybody's cool. It's totally worth it.
There's no real winners or losers at the No Name Nationals. That's what's good about it. It's like everybody comes there to, we say it's a family reunion where drag racing breaks out, right? We literally just have a pit party for like 3 days, and then everybody does burnouts and drag races, and like there's smiles from ear to ear and wheel stands and stuff blowing up, and it's fun.
Ron said it perfect. Tanya will have a G-Force transmission and a Dana 60 next year.
Well, I'm looking at the one that Ron posted at 817. It says Tanya needs a third pedal t-shirt. She darn sure earned it. I was thinking what would be cool is if you had a picture of like the pedal box and then some like heels,
yeah,
in there, and it says, "I know how to drive 3 pedals and have more balls than your man," right? So, because that was Tanya just dumping the clutch on that slant 6, and if you don't know, she's literally got 3 on the tree.
Yeah. Vintage Adventure Drive says something really funny here. It says, I just checked out the VRS on Jegs. There's only one review for a 750 on there, and it was only 1 star. The guy apparently was upset that the car ran 11.5 while cruising. Here's the thing is that if you have, like, say, an LS or whatever, and you put a 750 on it, that's too big of a carb for that engine. And these things run a little bigger on purpose because remember, it's a Venturi effect. Typically, people would overcarburate for a Holly. This one here, you don't have to do that because of how the Venturi works. That's why a lot of times I always say the lesser one will work better. I'm going to be running a 650 on this car, and it's going to be way too big. I'm literally going to turn off the back barrels until it's 3/4 throttle and it's going wide open. But I'm telling you, it 90% of the time it's the problem with the person. It's the person behind the wrench that's the problem, not the VRS.
Well, and that's why we do the show. Yeah. Okay. So Michael Schmidt here is saying, Shane, when talking about Buick Smith's question, did you say a bigger lifter is faster or quicker? This has been discussed on other channels, and it was concluded larger diameter lifters were faster. It's
Faster and quicker.
You have the ramp rate at which you can accelerate the lifter is considerably more because there's more surface area.
Yeah, it's faster and quicker. It's not one or the two. It's faster and quicker because it can do both. I don't see where that one's at, so I apologize. I would put it up here on the screen, but I can't find it. Is it above or below Dr. Walk?
That was at 8:21.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you did jump ahead. Sorry.
And then Ron Ward says, Shane, I realize they're pretty much antiques now, but did the mushroom lifter come about to allow the smaller diameter lifters Ford and GM to accommodate the higher ramp rates of monster cams?
Yes, absolutely. That is correct. That's exactly what it was for. Now, people put mushroom lifters in Mopars also, and because they were like, oh, why are they getting all the fun? And then that's really what kind of segued into the whole roller deal. But yeah, that's exactly what happens. The mushroom lifters for that.
Vintage Adventure Drive says, speaking of flathead Ford, I was watching my old auto shop instructor surfacing the deck surface on a 239 early today. He's building a flathead powered hot rod.
Nice.
Flathead, yeah, and Fab Race Mod Repeat says the flathead was an amazing little engine for sure. And then there's all this love for flatties. If you don't know, they were the performance race engine before the Hemi.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Flathead Ford.
My first V8 I was ever in that was a hot rod was a V8 Ford, but it wasn't fast. It wasn't fast. It was a cruiser, but it still had that sound. But,
so Michael Schmidt asked, does a wider footprint lifter follower have a direct improvement to low lift flow compared to a smaller footprint on the same engine? Should we look for more footprint followers?
Does a wider footprint on a lifter follower?
Yeah, he's just talking about the lifter face.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. Because you can faster.
Yeah, you can improve the ramp rate.
Yeah,
okay,
so that's like area under the curve.
5-degree ramp, you can go to like a 60-degree ramp with a larger follower.
Yeah, so you can basically ramp it in. So it's faster, it's quicker, it's everything. You can and simultaneously because of that, you can start dealing with your the jerk, which is like literally. I know it sounds like I'm being lame, but that's real. That's the fourth derivative. On the jerk, that's where how fast things are absolutely like changing directions. Like you can actually, and that's going to cause harmonics. But with something that's bigger, you can ramp it in faster and quicker like this. Where on a say a 842, you're going to have to go in and keep going. Where this thing's going to keep accelerating. So now you've got this pendulum that's moving. Then when it goes over the nose, it's going to swing way out. So you're going to have all these numbers go all over the place. Where this one, you can ramp it up faster, and then you can get up to the mid lifts, and then you can slow it down so it can parabolic longer at the top. So it really does everything well. And that's the reason why when you look at Cam's specs of a roller, that's exactly what they're doing. They're coming up, they're getting to the number, they're slowing down, and that way they slow down much faster over the nose, so you don't have to be on the spring pressure nearly as much.
Mean Street Mopar says, Professor P, can you recommend a good solid flat tappet cam for my W2 318? I want to run it with a 4-speed in my D100. Well, first, he's going to need to know the compression ratio first before he
if you send that over to spolito@edelbrock.com, just send it over there and I'll send you a cam number. And then we have all those DLC lifters that I just actually got some here. We have them all in stock now, so I'll send you over the number for that too. So
down at 827, Andy says VRS is the best carb I've ever ran, and I have ran some really high-end stuff.
Yes. No, I agree. I 100% agree with him.
Ron Ward, right below that, he says, for me, first off, Mostly Old Parts is a guy named Ron Ward. Ron Ward is the announcer for the No Name Nationals. But Ron Ward, it was also, and still is, the announcer for NHRA stock and super stock classes, divisional races. He travels the country and is an announcer for drag racing. So take this as you will. For me, the No Name Nationals is simply the greatest automotive event I've ever been to. It's not just the racing, it's the community. Everyone is so friendly, happy, and willing to help each other. Love you all. And
I
we
agree.
love you too, Ron.
I agree. And that's the reason why I make one event of a year. Always has to be the No Name Nationals, no matter what. And if I don't make it Drag Week because of that, I don't, because Drag Week usually happens right around this time. And I'd rather go to No Name Nationals than Drag Week. Oh, and Andy's out of here. See you later, Andy. Hope.
Bye, Andy.
Yep.
Okay.
Mostly parts. Don't forget about going to the guy with the microphone to throw shade on his competitors. That's awesome.
Let's see. Dr. Ghost says that Clyde of Bonnie and Clyde actually sent Henry Ford a thank you letter for creating flathead V8 Fords.
Yes.
Due to most squad cars bought on budgets, they didn't have the V8 to catch them.
It's true.
Okay. Also, I guess before we get onto this question here, all right. When Shane was talking about the 904 lifter, remember everything that you do has a positive and a negative.
Yep.
The 904 lifter, the
Exactly.
downside to the 904 lifter is got to be the mass, right?
Exactly.
You need a lot more valve spring to control a heavier lifter,
but not always, because the Chryslers were dumbbells.
Oh yeah, you're right. They were like
dumbbells.
That's
so
right.
When I ran a solid lifter, I would run a dumbbell lifter. They weighed the same as an 842 lifter. Now, in hydraulic land, absolutely, it is much heavier. But when it came to solids, you get a dumbbell lifter, it's the same weight.
But that's what I was saying is you have to take your considerations into play here, because generally if you stick a camshaft in it and it says you got to run springs that are X to the X, if you run it on a Mopar, they're even more.
Yeah, but then the advantage that helps that is because it's on a shaft system, you typically have more stable valve control with that, which will help that lifter stay on the camshaft. Where on Chevrolet, it's got a lighter lifter, but with guide plates and a ball, I mean, that thing's moving all over the way this way. Even with the guide plate, it's still moving a ton out here. So it's a less stable valve train. So it's advantages, disadvantages there. And some of them are because of all the deflection, you're going to get less spring back to the lifter. So it basically, they kind of weigh themselves out to about the same.
And so Ron Ward's talking about the advantages and disadvantages of the rollers. Did you read that question yet?
No, not yet. So
okay, so he's asking, what are the advantages and disadvantages to large versus small diameter rollers on the lifters?
Okay, imagine a roller kind of like a tire. So, and you're going through kind of like a bumpy road. The larger tire is going to eat up some of those bumps. It's the exact same thing. The larger the wheel, the less speed it's going to have as it spins, is the first thing. Second thing is that as it goes up, it has a less tendency to skid when it goes onto the ramp rate. Skidding is where they start to track. That is a big thing, is that when it goes on the ramp rate, if that ramp hits so hard and it's got such a small wheel, as it goes across that straight part, the wheel is not going to keep rolling. It's going to skid. And it will actually start to groove that, where the larger the wheel has less of a tendency to do that, because it's loading a much larger area. As far as, we've always said that taller tire is better than a wider tire for that exact reason. And that's all it is. So that's what the advantage is on that. Also too, another advantage is making the biggest diameter you can. So that's why a lot of the LSs and the Gen 3 Hemis have gone to such a big camshaft. The base circles on theirs are like 1/300, 1/400, 1/500 for that exact reason. For the wheels, is because imagine it as a mechanical computer. I've said this twice tonight, but and it's just the information that you can put into it. The bigger the wheel, it's more information you put in there, so you can be a lot more gradual with the ramp rates, and you won't have a tendency to skid as much. So that's really what it's for.
Okay, so the next one down is 38 Racing. So Shane, would you be interested in recommending a cam for the Mess 10? If you want that, you just email Shane, which is slantdailygarage at Gmail.
At Yahoo.
At Yahoo?
Yeah, yahoo.com. And just know that now I haven't looked at that in a while. You can also do it at spolito@edelbrock.com. But I can tell you that right now we just had SEMA. I have PRI coming up. And I'm a little busy at work. I'm not in sales at all, but I will definitely help you guys when I can. So please don't, if you're emailing me, I get 50 emails a day. So I do my best to keep up with those. Okay.
Buick Smith says, can you run a roller lifter on a steep hydraulic flat tapping cam?
No.
Saying Buick, not at all. You will
No.
destroy the lifter and the cam and probably the block.
And the cam will be so slow because it uses the lifter, a diameter lifter. Okay, when you have a wheel, you have just this contact patch, right? Small little wheel. But when you have a lifter, it's this big compared to the wheel contact patch. So the contact patch goes across like this. As you ramp in, it goes like this. As you go across the center, and as it ramps down, that's how the contact patch is. So the cam will be so ridiculously small because the wheel is going to be ramping in so much later on the ramp. So they'll barely run. Plus, Dallas is absolutely right. It's too damn hard, and there's a taper in them. Remember,
that's what I was going to say is that it'll make that roller lifter spin, and it will literally drill right through that camshaft.
It literally digs in. Someone did it when I was at Crower. Someone did that, and literally it just tracked all the way around on one side. It actually wore it flat, but the car would barely run because the cam came so small because of where the footprint is on a lifter compared to a roller wheel. It's much smaller.
But you can have a hydraulic flat tap or a hydraulic roller camshaft made and run solid rollers on it.
Yes. You just tighten up the lash because hydraulic ramps are actually faster off the seat than they are solids. Think about it. It's hard to wrap your head around, but it's true because they go really slow to take up the slack of the lash, and then they ramp it exponentially. Where hydraulic, because you have to keep a steady pressure on it because it's hydraulic, they have to come off and then move right away. So if that's what all these tight lash cams are nowadays, that's all they are is hydraulic profiles. So this new thing, these are tight lash, these are brand new profiles. No, they're just hydraulics that they decided to put solid rollers on. You put them at 6, 7, or even 0 lash at cold, call it good.
So John Murphy here says the VRS has so many tuning points you would need a dyno to tune it.
No,
I don't think it's any different than any other carburetor. You just got to know how to tune them. And that's the big problem is people are completely incompetent in tuning a carburetor and distributor. But the reality of it is you have to know what you're tuning. So the rule of thumb trick used to be like, okay, I like Q-Jets. Q-Jets, everybody else hates. Why? Because they're hard. But the reality, what you have to do is you have to focus on what you're tuning first, which is you lock out your secondaries, and then you tune the first thing. You say you put it on the motor, it's never even been tuned. You get it running, get your timing set right first, okay? Mm-hmm. Then you go to the carburetor, and you adjust the idle mixture as it's idling, right? And then that's one circuit down. Now, granted, the VRS has a fourth circuit, which most carburetors don't have, but if you think about it, the fourth circuit is literally just a transition between the normal three, right?
Yeah, you actually have 2 intermediate circuits. So you have a high intermediate circuit and a low intermediate circuit.
So that's all that is part throttle. That's part throttle drivability.
That's right.
Right. So that's where you go out and you would leave the secondaries locked out, or in this case, if it's a double pumper, you don't really have much of a choice. You can take the rod off and drive around on one and get the primary set up. But it's probably not going to be ideal for what you want to do. But you would need to work on just the first intermediate circuit, which would be drivability at just past the transition slot.
Yeah. So I happen to have a VRS right here. This is your air bleed here for your full throttle, and this is your idle way over here. And then these 2 intermediate ones, you really are not going to be touching much because that's just the transition between the 2. And that was tailored for part throttle, and it still has power valve in it. So typically most people are only changing just the air fuel at wide open, and then they're going to be playing with this idle circuit right here. On some of these, they have the bypass on these. The 950s don't, because it's just too big of a bore. But typically most people are not changing jets, but maybe 2 jets up, 2 jets down, typically just to fine tune it. And as far as the power valve,
that's terrible.
Yeah, you're only like maybe if they come with a 6.5, some people go to a 4.5 if they got a really big camshaft. That's really it. Andy, when Andy got these, he got 2 of them. I told him he was asking me, man, what do I do? What do I do? And I told him, said, man, just put them on an engine and run the damn thing. He goes, should I check it? Take a look. I said, no, take it out of the box, throw it on the dyno and run it. He actually made a video of that and it beat this like double throw me down carburetor that somebody put $2,000 into, and it was super more efficient. So no, there's really not much tuning on them. Usually
I just think it's pretty simple. It's a lot of it's just the user.
Yeah, it's really the person behind the tool is the problem. They get so overthink things so much, and they look at the very basic things. 1, fuel pressure. 2, are they getting adequate fuel flow? 3, timing.
Dude, I'll tell you the biggest one that like I find all the time. You go to the drag strip, cars running like shit. They can't figure out why. Blah blah blah. And dude, like you know how they put the sights on the float bowl?
Yes.
And you're supposed to have it in the middle of the sight now, right? So everything is metered. Fuel is in the bowl is metered based on fuel being in the middle of the sight glass.
Because fuel has weight, and weight has
it
energy.
Does, and it's called head pressure.
That's right.
And the way it used to be done was that didn't have a sight glass; it just had a screw that you took out, and it was an orifice, like just an open orifice, right?
You would shake it. Yeah.
You would rock the fender of the car, and when fuel would just dribble out, that's when it was perfect, and that was just at the bottom of that orifice. People do not set that float. And if you know what is absolutely critical to make that work, let's say you have a 72 jet in it. That 72 jet is based on your float being set correctly. That's right. It literally, if you raise it up above where it's supposed to be, that head pressure, that extra head pressure, makes it into like a 74 or 76 jet.
It's true.
And that used to be like the biggest tuning trick for nitrous when you go to tracks. Guys would be pulling carburetors apart and taking shit apart, and it's like, dude, bring the float up to half. You know, like if you're in the window, you're in the middle of the window, bring it up to the top of the window.
That's right. It's 2 flats.
Yes. And it's like so simple because it's like, that's why you never do a 2 jet change in a Holly. No. In a Holly, you can do a 2 jet change when it's running, just going out there and adjusting that float, right? But what you can do is a 4 jet change. That's what I learned was 4 jet changes. Like you go 4 sizes. If you want to make a change, you better make a change.
4 sizes and then drop the fuel.
Yeah.
I agree. That's what I do that all the time. Just by the weather, temperature outside. If it's the weather's coming around, raise it up a little bit, call it good.
So Ron Ward says, Slant Day of the Garage, I gave up announcing the NHRA Division 5 ET Finals. Ran an amazing event to announce at No Name Nationals.
Wow.
So that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Dan's Garage says, Shane, do you have any slant recipes looking for street performance fuel economy?
Yes, actually, that's funny enough. Go look at Gilbert Slanted Sled and then look at that build. It's actually on a playlist. And then go on over to Just Mopar Joe, where the car went. I built the engine, I put it in, I got it running. And then it went to Just Mopar Joe, where he did all the brakes and all the other neck paddywhack stuff on it. Put a fan on it. And then he took it for a drive. And then that guy got in the car and drove it all the way back to Texas. But it is a great camshaft. I even give you the cam number. It's called Gilbert Slanted Sled. It's literally a quarter race cam. It's a hydraulic profiles on a solid, so it's a tight lash cam, and it runs beautiful.
Okay, so Bear Rose Garage says, this is why I love hot rodding. For every advantage, there's a disadvantage. You have to pick your poison in the pursuit of balance.
Absolutely.
Michael Schmidt says, would you say the weight of the valve train affects RPMs over 5, 6, 7,000 RPM more than under 5,000 RPM? Yes. That is, if you have a low RPM motor, should we focus on valve train weight first or last? Last.
Don't even think about it. In under 5,000 RPM, it's not even the ballpark.
When there's other options on the table, always go with the other option, because the valve train is not going to help you at all on low RPM stuff. You can make it weigh a zillion pounds as long as the spring can control the valve. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh man, here's the thing. Shane, the master of the Holly 1920, man, I tell you. Okay, my Belvedere 225 fuel mileage is tanking. Last tank was 12.5. It's also dumping soot out the exhaust. First step to checking the float level. What else would you look at? Okay, here's something that happens quite a bit. It actually happened on my green car. Inside the Holly 1920, remember how we took out the little metering block? I call it a valve body metering block. look at where those little arms go up. Sometimes those little brass seats fall out. Happens quite a bit, and then it's just going to go crazy on the amount of fuel that's going to burn because it's literally on the power valve all the time. Then at that
I remember you telling me when that happened to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do? You just put the brass seat back in and stake it?
Yeah, I staked it. I staked it back in there. Yeah, so you could do that. But I would just take it apart and look at that metering block. But yeah, look at the float level. But it's on the Holley 1920. If you just take the economizer out, you can look at the float level, or you just take the bowl off. And like you said, remember, you flip it upside down. As long as it's level with the two, it's good. If it's starting to tank, I'm telling you, usually you have a problem inside the metering block. And that's where I would say, because I'm telling you, those things fall out all the time.
So
And if you want to take it apart, send me some pictures. I'll tell you what I think.
So Bear Rose Garage at 840 says, that's the big one, Dallas. So many people confuse ignition issues with carb issues. So this happened to me just recently. I have one of my viewers, I'm not going to say what his name is or anything, but he had bought a new Project 71 Skylark four-door car. And it was running. It wasn't in the greatest shape. It sat for a long time. He's doing the trunk floor and the gas tank and stuff. But he started up for me. He's like, man, listen to that thing rumble. It was like, man, that thing, somebody stuffed a camshaft in a stock motor. Pretty cool. And he's like, I can't wait to get this running and driving. Right. And because this has got probably a TA 212 or bigger cam in it. So I'm like, all right, cool. Hey, you want me to send, I'll build him a carburetor and I send it to him, right? Quadrajet carburetor. So he's like assuming it's got a TA 212 cam in it. I put this whole thing together based on this TA 212 cam in it. He gets the carburetor in the mail, fires it up, and he's like, hey, something's not right with the carburetor. And I'm like, really? I mean, I literally took it over to my friend's house and ran it on the engine. It ran great.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it's running really rich. And I'm like, put a timing light on that sucker. He's like, oh, I can't read the timing on it because it moves.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean it moves? He's like, it's moving back and forth. And I'm like, he said, the gear's got to be worn. And I'm like, that's not gear slop, because what it'll do is it'll take up the slack as it's turning over. And gear slop is only apparent essentially generally at idle, and it'll just be wavering between like one or two numbers, right? And that's where you have your gear slop, because it isn't turning all that fast. You know, it's really only running half the speed of the crankshaft. So I'm like, man, this does not sound right. I said, take your HEI out and take it apart. And he took it apart, and the magnet in the HEI was broken in half. And if you know how the HEI works, it works on polarity, right? So you have a magnet inside there that's a ring, and it has a north and a south side. But when you break it in half, what happens? Now you have two norths and two souths, right? So as the magnet, which is using as a pickup, it's using the pickup signal from the magnet across the points to create a pulse, which generates a spark, right? But now you have two poles in there, so it'll be generating two sparks every time because it's got a north and a south pole. Because like you take something that's a north and south polarity and break it in half, well, now it's got, you know, two norths on one end and two souths on the other. You know, so now I'm really wondering how the thing runs, and did I overdo it with setting it up for something with a camshaft? I don't think so, but those two generally go hand in hand. I'm telling you, if you are a good carb guy, you could diagnose an ignition issue easily. If you're a good ignition guy, you could diagnose a bad carburetor easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, read this one right here.
Cam questions are now cluttering my brain. So do cam manufacturers offer launcher cams?
Yes. In like say
for roller cams in stock eliminator, like they do for hydraulic and solid lifter cams. Wait, is this the ones where the lobes throw
yes
lifter? Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, they don't. In fact, because you will destroy the roller, because on a flat tappet cam, you have such a bigger area. Even though it's kind of only hitting one area, the footprint is massive compared to, say, a roller, because a roller is just one little tiny slit that goes across, no bigger than like a little piece of paper. That's how much is touching the actual camshaft as it ramps in. Where on a roller, on a flat tappet, you've got a much bigger footprint. No, they don't. They in fact do not do that. Yeah, but you can only get the launcher cams really. It's a hydraulic, but literally there's no internals in it. It's just got a little tiny spring in it, and it's got 20 thousandths of play in the bottom. But yeah, they don't offer. There might be someone doing it, but I can tell you right now, it's not going to last for more than a few trips down the drag strip. But a solid lifter cam, flat tappet, you can do a launcher cam for a whole season. It'll be fine.
Clint Street Machine says, "Hey Shane, were you going to show me something? Wink, wink."
Yes, it's a picture of the gearbox on how to take them out of a Chrysler A-body. But unfortunately, Clint, I got into these and I didn't get to take a picture, but I'll do it right after this and I'll send it to you. I apologize. We sat down here, I sent him a link, and then we were talking about all this stuff, and then we had like 2 minutes and then we went live. So sorry.
Most Civil Parts Ron Ward says that for those of you encountering problems with your BRS carb, consider this. The quote from Smokey Unic: 99% of carburetor problems are under the distributor cap.
That's right. It's the truth.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there's not a lot of people out there that set their timing right and do things like have the correct curve in them. Man,
yes,
I'm amazed at how much I know compared to everybody else. And
I agree.
To me,
it just seems like, yeah, no, I agree with you, because it's like, to me, this is just things that I know. And it's like, like just today I was helping setting timing for someone on a camshaft. And I was like, "Do you got a timing out?" He goes, "Oh yeah, we got 4 or 5 of them." So I brought mine, and all it was literally the timing. Timing was so retarded that at full throttle it was only getting 19 degrees of timing, and it was after TDC was idling. So I literally just rotated it up, and I got it to about 15 degrees, and it had 35 degrees total time.
Never ran better.
And he's like, "This is a miracle. This thing runs so great. It's idling." And I was like, "Well, yeah, the timing's correct." But Izzy, yes, I do. I have a set of Performer RPM shaft. I have either Magnum or I have LA style heads for sale. I have either one for sale. I got them in one of our scratch and dent sales. There's nothing wrong with them. They were just out of box, and yeah. So hit me up.
Well, Vintage Adventure Drive says the 700 double pumper on my satellite changed by an entire ratio when I changed 2 jet sizes from 69 to 67 jet. Went from 12.5 to 13.5 to 1 cruising. That's probably about right.
Yeah, I mean, it seems quite a lot. That's usually, especially when the jets are that big, from 69 to 67. That's only going to be like, say, a 4% increase as far as area. And
well, you know what? I'll tell you what I think this is.
It's probably signal, and the power valve is what's.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. What it is that you were actually giving enough fuel that the vacuum went up and the power valve opened earlier.
That is correct. It's exactly right. So you were actually probably giving it some fuel. It was actually burning, and it was like, "Hey, wow, I can make some, make a signal."
Yeah, usually usually 2 jets. I've never seen them go like a whole ratio. They'll make a big difference, 2 jets. But like I said, when I do change, I do 4 jets, because you can do a 2 jet change just by changing the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And normally 2 jets is usually half a point is what I normally see. If you don't, all things being considered, not on cruising, but as far as wide open throttle. And it gets even less when you get up into like the 80s and the 90s as far as the jet sizes. Each step is even less. So if you're running like, say, 90s in a jet, you just by moving the float level up, you can actually move more than you would by moving 3 or 4 jets.
Okay. So KS Skyhawk says, what do I do with those exhaust heat passages in the center to E ports? I'm assuming the exhaust ports underneath the carburetor.
Mm-hmm.
I've been running with one side blocked on the gasket. She's a bit cold-blooded. All right. Well, if you're running one side blocked, you're actually just making it like worse. Either you go across, because that's what that does, is it goes across and it scavenges from one side as it's forcing exhaust from the other. And what it does is it continually circulates hot air underneath the carburetor, warming it up. If you're going to plug them off completely. Mm-hmm. And I found that if you have an electric choke, you can literally do away with all those.
Yeah.
It is robbing you of horsepower, and by like a considerable amount, like 15 to 20 horsepower, that thing's robbing you of. and but it will run better when it's warm. It's just you don't need the heat directly below the carburetor. That choke stove setup is what used to rely on this. If you don't have the choke stove any longer, you can get rid of all that stuff and just run an electric choke and block them suckers off.
You know, I'm going to jump ahead of it. This is actually really funny because we're getting close to the end here. Advance it until it pings, then back it off.
Easy. Yeah, there you go.
I'm telling you, man. You know how many times I've tuned a carburetor by ear, like at the track for someone else, and oh man, that thing ran the best. I literally did that. I just kept advancing it until it started like under throttle, slightly pinging. I backed it off and said, "Go run it, see what happens." You know what I mean?
Well, I was pretty famous for that myself. Before I learned how to really do that stuff, GM HEIs are notorious for like 47 degrees of advanced from the vacuum canister, right? And so that used to be my biggest plight was I would set everything up. You do it with the vacuum advance off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wow, you got it all set up, and then plug it in. And then it's like, it runs like shit. And you're like, what in the world is going on here? You know, and why is it so bad? And it wouldn't be until you put it full throttle where the vacuum drops to 0 and that canister shuts that you realize that it's just running on the initial setup that you had. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the vacuum advanced canisters used to be so bad on the HEIs. I just got to the point where I was like, I don't even know what to do anymore to keep them from spark knocking. Just back away off. And that's
just take them off. Yeah, just unplug them. Hey, Mr. John Wilburn, the Bring It to No Name Nationals is actually in the house here. Better than late than never. Come on in at the last 5 minutes, man.
Hey, we were plugging your channel, dude.
Yeah, we've been plugging you all night long. We
actually got Racing is going to be hitting you up here soon.
Yeah, we have a new sponsor. We have WAF Racing. They do all this stuff. Go check it out at the beginning of the show. I did a whole little segment on it. But yeah, we actually have a sponsor for the Wednesday Night Tech Talk now. It's awesome. And he's interested in doing the No Name Nationals, and he's going to go, as soon as you put an orange number up there, he's going to go register, and he's going to be in the No Name 500 what is it? Yeah, there's the
what's No Name 500.
It's No Name 500. Yeah, that's the name. Okay. So anyways, man, we got about 3 minutes left, man. Believe it or not, this went by fast.
Yeah, this really went by pretty fast.
It did. And here, one more time, here it is. Go check it out. The code is Tech Talk. So Tech space Talk. And that will you'll get your 10% discount on that. It's awesome stuff.
So Buick Smith says on old AC 1971 engine tune-up pamphlet that tells the factory curve of almost every distributor number from 1962 to 1971. That's actually pretty bitching because that's like right in the middle of the muscle car era.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool. Danny Boyd says I've never set timing with a light on any aid.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I feel sorry for you, dude.
Yeah, I do that just for a little bit, but I'll always put a timing light on it. Sometimes I'll do it just to get it going.
I like Bear Rose here says I use a manual choke because I stand to pee. Ron Ward says advance it until the starter bolts break off in the block and then back it off.
Right.
Rear slow. Okay. Blue Grit Garage says Shane, my daughter's F-150 351 Windsor has a dual plane air gap Edelbrock intake and carb with an electric choke and open air cleaner. Will drivability always suck?
No. I mean, that should be intake and a carb with an electric choke. No. An open air cleaner should be fine. As soon as it gets warmed up, that choke turns off. It should be fine. I never really liked
the choke crossovers, right?
Yeah, and also to the electric choke, until that thing shuts off, that thing's going to be fat as hell. It's going to be like 10.5 to 1. And if that choke's anywhere not all the way vertical, that's why I don't like them.
The electric choke fixed a lot of this stuff, right? That's why I love electric chokes on a Q-Jet, because it fixed a lot of the stupid stuff that they would do when using the old bimetallic spring choke stoves and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering what this one has for, I don't know where we're at 2 hours now, huh?
Well, yeah, I'm about to wind it up here.
All right, dude. Well, let's wind it up. I was about to get in a story, but it's not story time anymore.
That's right.
You got any videos coming out next Wednesday, huh?
You got any videos coming out? You got something coming out?
I have something coming out soon, dude. I sent a
Good.
lot of people stuff today. I'm working on my What If 300 single plane intake manifold, and
I
it's
like
going to
that.
be pretty bitching because I got a lot of it welded up now. And today I did a lot of grinding, and tomorrow I'll do some more welding.
Yeah, and
So,
Cope just slid in here right when we're getting out of here. So thanks, Cope. We love your stuff. We're actually going to be here. I'm going to be here, and Dallas is going to be here next Wednesday for Thanksgiving Eve.
I
Yeah, well,
probably won't be here.
you won't.
No, I might be doing a family Thanksgiving
Oh,
every year. I do a family Thanksgiving in out of state.
oh, well, I'll be here, and if someone wants to join, come on in. We'll make it just a kind of a meet and greet. If people want to join in, join in. We won't talk much about Tech Talk. Then we'll just do something else. But I'll be here because I'm not going anywhere. We were going to go to Texas, but that all fell through because it's going to be cold and rainy out there, and so there's not going to be any point in going on any roller coasters. So,
Oh, and Dizzy just sent us $10. Thanks,
oh,
Dizzy.
thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that'll keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So,
And once again, go see John Wilburn on his channel on Friday night at 7 Central, his time. What's it called? John Wilburn. Go check him out.
John Wilburn channel. Yeah,
John
and
Wilburn. Yeah.
Buff and Cam live every night.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. Pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. You guys take it easy. Have a good night.
We're
I'll
out.
see you guys next week.